Yeah, that's another thing about knowing RP. It was like that every other, at least week, every week he'd come through and be like, he'd come through and he would bring just a little bit with him because he didn't want to get pulled over with it. So he'd bring a little bit that was down in the back of his cigarette pack, wrapped in some foil, or wrapped in plastic rather, that was lit and sealed. He'd come over, and believe me, I know what good weed is. I grew up with all these fucking motherfuckers. I grew up in a sea of good weed. And he would just come by with the most weird looking weed that smelled so fucking good. And he'd give me the wrap. The first thing I loved it. He would stretch like Salem, little RPs, little gentleman, and he'd come in, what's up? And he'd hand me a thing of his little cellophane, and you'd look at it, it'd usually be purple, orange, or bright lime green, because when he was dealing, he wasn't dealing that Mexican shit that was going around when we were kids with seeds and stems. I'm talking hydroponic. It was grown on rocks without seeds. So it was naturally ultra lime green, lime neon green. It was either that or dark purple or orange. And he'd hand it to you, you'd look at it. And sometimes it'd be this big brown heap and you'd smell it with purple flowers and you'd be like, that don't even smell like weed. It does, but it doesn't. Yeah, look close. You turn the light on and it would just be covered in crystals. He'd take it back. And you'd wait, and he'd roll a perfect joint, just a perfect doob, sometimes with two papers. And you'd smoke it. It'd be like, what is this? This is Durban pea, Aaron. What the fuck is Durban pea? This is Durban poison. It's from fucking Africa, but I got it from Afghanistan. You'd be like, I love you, Rich. And you'd smoke it, and I just remember it, the taste, the smell. I don't know where he was getting his weed. It's not like the shit these days either. It's not like the shit at the distillery either, which is good. That's just good plain weed. But this shit here, it wasn't even dried. It was wet vegetative matter a lot of the time, and it stank. It just fucking stank, and a lot of it was flowery. They would prune it. Who is that little hoe? Is that another Shriners hoe? I want to fuck you. Shriners, I'll fuck you right in that Shriners hospital, and I'll keep coming back, bitch. Those two bitches, the one with no arm and the other bitch, I will definitely fuck you. That little dude, he's getting older, but you can't tell he's got progeria or something. Yeah, but trust me, man, it was different. Like and if you're old enough to remember, you remember after 1995 or 96, right? Well, no more Mexican weed in America. It ceased to exist. The hairsprayed buds that were hairsprayed together because they were falling apart and bugs and parasites got to it while it was curing. With Sems and Steve, no more. It was all Kyle Cushman hydroponic. So we had a lot of hydro that was packed in dryer sheets. When I think back to the millennia, mostly, or even the 90s, I think back of all the weed just reeking of bat guano, diarrhea, and dryer sheets, and being orange, purple, and bright fucking neon green. And it tasted fucked up because it was grown like seaweed. You understand that? The weed game it was good. It was just so good. What the fuck is this, Rich? This is something called 9 Pound Hammer. It's really good upstate. And you'd be like, oh God, everybody else is smoking Gorilla Glue. Yeah, well, I like what I do. That's what Rich would do. I smoke the shit on the street now. Without Rich around, there's no more fruity pebbles. There's no more weird weed. And he would do that. He would come over with the best vinyl, the best weed, the best smelling clothes, the best Salem-like demeanor, all tired and low energy stoner, Pilsic energy.